Alright guys, we're going to go over in this video what happens when you get the offer accepted and what does that mean. There's a few things that have to happen in the home buying process after the offer gets accepted.
Yep.
One is earnest money, right?
Right. Yes. After your offer gets accepted, that's when the real work starts. So earnest money.
Earnest money. You have your inspection period. You have the appraisal, which that's her job, and then you also have a few other contingencies built into place to help protect you throughout the whole process. And then you have your final inspection and closing date. So we're going to go over all of that here in the next couple minutes. So that leads us to the first question. Beth, what is earnest money?
Great question. So earnest money is the equivalent of putting your money where your mouth is. Really, it is.
Yeah.
So it's not just take my word for it. You know, I'm interested in this house. It's, hey, this is my money. You're gonna hold it, and in the event that I, just change my mind, you get to keep it. So it sort of helps solidify your actual offer. And the earnest money is generally it's held by the title company, and they're sort of an unbiased third party there in between the seller and the buyer, and they're right there in the middle, and they hold that money. And then that money, when you close on the home, it actually goes towards your closing costs. Or on the other end, if something happens with your financing or your home inspection or your appraisal, and you decide, this isn't going to work, then you get that earnest money back.
Yeah. Which kicks us in the next thing, right?
Yeah.
Inspection period.
Yeah.
So once the earnest money's over at the title company and we get the contract accepted, it kicks us into our inspection period. Now, inspection period, it can go so many different ways. Everything's negotiable. You can even not do an inspection, which we've had people do before too, when the market's a lot more of a seller's market or one's buying like with a frenzy. But the inspection period in a normal market, it's generally anywhere from 7 to 10 days. If you get it a little longer, that's awesome. But what happens in the inspection period, right? There's a few things that happen. One is called the inspection period for a reason. We do our home inspection, which is super important. You always want to have a home inspection done. You always want to really, a home inspection, it's not a pass or fail. It's really more of a general list of like, hey, here's the condition of the house.
Yeah.
Here's everything that's wrong with the house. And here's what looks pretty good. So you want to have your home inspection and then any other inspections that you need to get. Termite inspections, radon inspection, which not a lot of people get, but septic inspections, stuff like that. You can get all your inspections done within this amount of time. Now, let's talk about that too. Let's say you're 5 days in your inspection period, you have 7 days, and you get your inspection from the home inspector back, and there's a lot of things that aren't looking good on that inspection report. What we could do from there is you have a few options. One, you can negotiate some repairs in. Two, you can walk away from the house, and then that's like Beth was talking about, you can get your earnest money back because it's based on that inspection.
Yeah.
Or three, you can also accept the house the way it is. So, but that inspection period is built in to protect you so you're not stuck buying a home that has a bunch of issues with it.
Yeah.
So, usually 7 to 10 days, and you can decide whether you want to move forward or not. Let's say the inspection period goes great. You love the house, not much wrong with it. That gets us to the next thing, the appraisal. Want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, so the appraisal is, it's there to determine the value of the home for lending purposes, and also to make sure that the home is in conforming standards of whatever loan program that you're doing. So we know obviously what you're willing to pay for the home and what the seller's willing to sell it for, but how does it compare to what's available and what's been selling in the immediate area in that market? So that's the value purpose for the appraisal. And then the other component is the house, is it safe in the condition that it's in, both structurally and then also environmentally. So those are the three big things, I guess, that the appraisal report is for.
And that's just from the bank's eyes. The bank needs to know, like, hey, is this house worth enough for me to lend money towards it? And is this house in good enough shape from the bank's eyes to lend money on it?
Yeah.
Now, who orders the appraisal?
So the appraisal on the lending side is the only thing that we request payment for upfront. So that is part of the initial cost along with your earnest money and your home inspection. But we order the appraisal. Now, before I order the appraisal, I do want to give a thumbs up from you that your home inspection results were satisfactory. That way I know, because we don't want you spending any money unnecessarily.
Nope.
So once we get the thumbs up and everything's good, then we go ahead and order that appraisal. Appraisals it really just depends. Sometimes they're coming back really quick, as soon as a week, and sometimes it takes a few weeks depending on the house and just all of the specifics. So
generally, like, how much are we talking here as far as price on an appraisal? Is there like an estimated range or?
Sure, so that's a great question, and again, it really just depends, but usually you're looking at somewhere in between $550 and $950. I know that's a big range, but it does depend on the housing type and where it's located and how busy everybody in the appraisal world is.
All sorts of stuff, right? Yeah, cool. Well, that kicks us into our next thing.
So during all of this time, there is a bunch going on behind the scenes. So your loan file is getting converted from just like an application to being submitted into processing and into underwriting. So there are a lot of requests that are going to come through. I like to say that underwriting is extra. It's what I call underwriting.
Extra.
Yes. But really, they've got to be able to paint a picture with just documentation. So no story whatsoever. You and I, we get to talk, and I know exactly what's going on. I know everything about it. But the underwriter, if someone were to pick up your file 10 years from now, they need to be able to look at just the documents that have been collected and be able to put all the pieces together. So we're asking for additional documentation during this time and getting everything resubmitted, and working with title, getting the title work ordered on the property. So there's a bunch going on behind the scenes during this process, but we're doing all this to get you towards the end of the process and get you clear to close, which means, hey, everything's gone great. You've had you've made it through your inspection period, your appraisal period, and we're getting so close to getting you your keys. And before you get your keys, you still have one other thing you'll want to do, and that's your final walkthrough.
One of the last steps is the final inspection, or some call it the final walkthrough. Super simple. Basically, during that time, we go to the property, we walk it just like we did when we saw it the first time, and we do another walkthrough of it. We just make sure that everything is in the same condition or better as when we agreed to purchase it. That way, something crazy happens, like kids are playing baseball next door and smack a baseball through the window, and let's say the seller's moved out, they don't know about it. Well, you go before closing and make sure, hey, there's no holes in the windows, roof didn't get torn off by a tornado,
Woo.
crazy stuff like that. But most of the time it checks out good and there's really nothing to worry about. But that's also the last fail safe in the transaction process. Because let's say something did happen, you still are secured in that, even though the loan's ready to go, the loan's ready to be closed, title's ready to be closed, everything's ready to be closed. If something's wrong with the house that wasn't wrong with it, you still have the opportunity to back away if need be, is the final fail safe. So let's say, final inspection's all good. What's next?
Closing. That's the best part.
Yep.
So if your loan has down payment or you have closing costs, you're going to have what's called a final closing disclosure. And it's going to tell you, it'll be 30 plus pages. It's a lot of paperwork, but it'll just reiterate, these are the terms of your loan, this is your monthly payment, and it'll have a final cash to close in there. And that money goes to, you probably have guessed already, but it goes to the title company. So depending on how much money that is, usually you're wiring that money to title. Not a big deal if you've never done a wire before, you don't know what that means. Your banking institute, they're pros at this stuff, so they'll help you out with that.
Wire transfer is super common.
Yeah,
Everyone's doing them nowadays.
But you'll wire your money to title, and you'll be showing up. You'll want to have ID, at least 2 forms of identification for everybody that's going to be signing, and you'll get to the closing table at title, and you'll have a stack of paper about this thick, so make sure you're nice and flexible and you've been doing your hand strengthening exercises.
Bring a wrist brace. It's really not too bad. How long does it take?
It's not bad at all. It's just, I think more than anything, it's just so emotional because you're going to become a homeowner in the next few minutes, and
it's really, almost unbelievable, right?
It is. You're there probably 15 minutes, and once you're done signing everything, you'll get copies of all the paperwork, and you'll get keys to your new house.
Yeah, and it's really funny too because a lot of our clients, they'll take off work for the full day, which is awesome because you can kind of really soak that in for the day. But a lot of folks, they think it's going to take like 3 hours to get these signed. Most of the time, because we're chit-chatting, we're having fun, whatnot, we're there from anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. So really, you don't have to carve out the whole day. If you guys have a busy schedule and you need to do it on a lunch break, we've done it before. We can squeeze it in. We'll work that out with title. But that's the fun part, is getting everything signed and getting the keys in your hand. And then you get to take some awesome pictures with us, holding some just bought signs, a big key, all the fun stuff. And and then from there, it's pretty much over.
For us. For you, you've still got moving to.
Yeah, you still got to move in. Yep. And then that's it. That's pretty much the final stretch right there.
Yep. So thank you very much for tuning in. We look forward to connecting with you guys. Feel free to reach out to either one of us. We'd love to walk you through this process, and we'll be coming up with some more videos for you guys in the very near future.
Yep, and we've actually built a flow chart on the whole process front to back. So down in the video, if you drop the word process down, and I will get that to you directly. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and drop process down in the video. We'll get it over to you.